Hello everyone, Enigma Incorporated here with another video. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I realize how important this day is because I myself am a father. And we're going to go into the history of Father's Day and what it's like to be a father now and my own little spin on things. So we're going to get started. Hope you're having a good day, fellas. Please enjoy it because you are much appreciated, believe me, even though the world doesn't show it. So let's look here at the definition of a father, a male parent, a man who has begotten a child. Okay, and we're going to go into the history of Father's Day. The history of Mother's Day goes back to 1860s, and Mother's Day was declared a national holiday in 1914. The celebration of one parent paved the way for Father's Day. The history of Father's Day goes back to 1908 when a church in West Virginia held a sermon to honor 362 men who were killed the previous year in a coal mining explosion. This was the country's first ever event to strictly honor fathers, but it was a one and done thing, at least in that community. The following year, however, a woman named Sonora Smart Dodd started her quest to establish Father's Day as a national holiday. Dodd was one of the 6 children raised by her single father and thought fathers should be honored in the same way as mothers. After a year of petitioning her local community and government, Dodd's home state of Washington celebrated the first official Father's Day on June 19, 1910. Over the years, the celebration of Father's Day spread from state to state, and after a long fight, it was finally declared a national holiday in 1972 when President Richard Nixon signed it into law. Now we celebrate with funny Father's Day quotes and dad quotes. It took more than 60 years from the birth of the idea to Father's Day actually being recognized as a federal holiday, but a lot happened to threaten the parenting celebrating holidays during the time. In the 1920s and 30s, there were a national movement to get rid of both Mother's and Father's Day and replace them with one Parents' Day. Beyond that, some men didn't even want a Father's Day to begin with. Some saw it as a hallmark holiday invented for a sole purpose of a commercial gimmick. As many fathers were sole breadwinners at the time, they did not particularly want to spend their hard-earned cash on flowers and chocolates. The Great Depression and World War II, however, helped boost the idea of Father's Day. Struggling retailers pushed the gift-giving holiday during the Depression, and during the war, Father's Day became a war to honor the many fathers serving overseas. By the time President Nixon signed the proclamation making Father's Day a holiday, it was already a national institution. As you can see here in this picture, this is what they try to portray Father's Day as being. As you can see here. But in this picture that I've written right here and posted, this is what fathers actually go through. The acronym of fathers should read Forsaken Amour, which is love, tortured heavily, enduring rage, because it seems to that fathers are the take upon a lot of rage from women or from children, whether they be male or female, because of, something that might not have happened or may have happened or may have not have happened between the father and the mother. This is why you should always get both sides of the story. If your mother and father are no longer together and you see that it might have been the best option for him to leave. Now, I'm not saying that your father should not be in your life, but it sometimes just two people just can't live in the same house and function together well. This is not a Disney fantasy. People, you have to understand that it does not always work out between a man or a woman, and sometimes it is the best option for those two people to live separately. With that being said, fathers are needed in the home, and if they're not in the home, the new co-parenting thing that's going on, but the bottom line is a father needs to be in the child's life, period. The gender of the child does not matter. You have to have both parents for a reason. I just want to let the fathers know that you are appreciated, and you don't have to live your life being a forsaken, a more tortured, heavily enduring rage. You don't have to be. You really don't. I find it not funny. I find it very, very, this is very, I can't even find the words for it because this is the way I feel. I find it very sad that fathers are taken for granted like this. Like, if you're a father, you're just expected to be, this unbreakable weapon or shield, to protect any and all things going on. And that you to constantly be there no matter what's going on. Like, everybody else can have an excuse as to why certain things can't happen. And if one little thing happens on the father's side, then it's like it's curtains. And I'm not talking about not being there for your children. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, say, if, for example, your father said he was going to take you somewhere and he couldn't because of a reason, then he's looked at as being the most horrible person in the world. Oh, well, you said you were going to promise. That's shown in so many movies and television shows. It makes me sick. They have to get, the guy working, and then for whatever reason, he can't show up on time. And it's like, oh, well, he said he was going to be there and he's not here. You're horrible. And the child goes, I hate you. And those other stuff, and the mother is always the one to pick up the pieces. The mothers are never shown in a bad light. It's always the father who is always shown in a bad light in television and media. The father's the one that's working, and he's supposedly too busy to step away to help the rearing of the children. Or the father is shown as an abusive person and just comes home from work and abuses people and drink excessive amounts of alcohol and has sort of resentment for his family. That is not the truth. That is not the truth whatsoever. Are there some people who do those type of things? Yes, they are. There are people out there that do those things. And if they do those things, they should be punished according to the letter of the law. But what I'm speaking about here is the overwhelming majority. The overwhelming majority of men do not have any contempt for their children and treated them like they're nothing to be cherished. No, that is not the truth. So I don't know why people want to latch on to this thing, because I don't know, us as a society for United States, living in these United States, for whatever reason, it's really set up like a Hollywood movie, because it's like you gotta have a villain, and the villain is the man. And especially if you're a black man like myself, you're really looking, not only are you vilified, as Dr. T. Hassan Johnson says, not only are you vilified, you're demonized. You're looked at as some sort of supernatural entity that just brings sorts of calamity and misfortune upon anyone you're around. And that, someone needs to come and stop you from doing all these things, which is not the truth. What is not the truth at all. I'm here making this video today telling you, fathers, you are not forsaken, a more tortured, heavily enduring rage individuals. You are not. You are loving, you are kind. You put your children before yourself to make sure they have a better future than you are. And if you're like a father like I am, you go out of your way to make sure that your son and your daughter not only have more than what you had when you were a child, but that you are taking steps to make sure they inherit some kind of wealth. You're also taking steps to make sure that they're especially financially educated, know who they are proud of who they are, and that they have whatever advantage they need to survive in this world, because that's a father's ultimate job, to make sure that your children can survive, when they get older. That's your ultimate job right there. So fathers, enjoy this Father's Day. And if you're going through something, just take the steps that you have to take to go through it and get through the other side. If you keep grinding and doing your thing, you can make it through it. I have no doubt in my mind that you can do that. And also, let's connect. Now, I know I don't have a lot of followers or subscribers on this, but I hope to gain more, that somebody sees this and that we can start working together as men to make sure that our image starts to improve. Because we already know it's a fact that we already know that we're not some type of evil entities running around just causing calamity. We're loving and we're kind, and we'll put our children first, and we'll take necessary steps to make sure that they have every advantage to be successful. So we want to take that truth and bring it into light to show this is what we do. And for this, we need to clean up our image. We need to take steps to be like, anytime they show the type of image of the fathers behaving badly, we need to stand up like, no, we're not having this, because the majority of fathers do not do this. And you're not going to portray us that way just so you can get away with some lazy writing tactics to have an easy villain in there to make your story better. No, man, we sick of that, man. We are definitely sick of that, man. I am a man. Unapologetically, I'm a man. Absolutely not. And the world calls me toxic just because I go about doing manly things. No, do I run around and tell my wife to be doing all sorts of things and get in there and make me a sandwich? No, I do not do that. But I'll not apologize for being the leader of my household and making sure my children and making sure my wife are well taken care of. I'm not going to be vilified for that. And no man should be vilified for that. And you should not stand up. You should stand up anytime somebody tries to vilify you for that. And that's another thing that I'm sick of us as fathers going through. Why do we have to take the blunt of someone's anger and rage? Hence, that's why I put that acronym up there. Why do we have to take the blunt of somebody's anger and rage just because your father messed up? Point blank, not all fathers are like that. Because your father, if you're upset that your father messed up like that, there's a couple things that you need to go through. You need to ask your mother why you chose them. Now, I'm not going to ignore the fact that some people change. Some people be nice in the beginning and then they change. That happens. I'm not ignoring that. But that doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time, if you pay attention to that person, you see that they are who they are. So you need to question your mother and why she chose that type of man. We tired of just because we the same gender as the person who may have done wrong in your life, that we got to take responsibility for. That's absolutely no. And this is why, believe it or not, a lot of people need counseling before they even start a relationship. I mean, that's what I think and know, because a lot of people who have been hurt in the past, they need to seek some sort of counseling before they even start a different type of a relationship, because there's no reason a man should have to take the responsibility because another man in your life calls you some sort of calamity. Absolutely not. No. We're not playing this and that. And no, that's out of the question, out of line. No. Fathers, please enjoy your Father's Day. You do not have to be a beast of burden. You do not have to be a forsaken, more tortured heavily, enduring rage. You don't have to do that. No, you don't. Now, there's a lot of things being a man that you have to do. And a lot of men willingly do that and go above and beyond to make sure their family or their children are safe and they are successful. But there's a lot of things that you don't have to do as a man and a father. You don't have to be the blunt of everybody's jokes. You don't have to be a beast of burden. And I used beast of burden as somebody that's being whipped constantly and always has to absorb the pain for everybody else to feel better. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be, even if you're with a person that you don't like, if your significant other you're with doesn't physically harm you, you being as a man, if she verbally harms you, that's not right either. Like, I'm a big advocate of that. It is not okay whether you're a man or woman, regardless of your sexual orientation. That does not count either. No individual, and individual means anybody. I'm not playing identity politics in it. If I say individual, I mean everybody. It is regardless of your identity. An individual describes a person. If you're an individual, you do not have to accept abuse in any way, in any form whatsoever. So it is not okay for women to hit men. It's not okay for men to hit women. No, absolutely not. So, men, you do not have to be a beast of burden. You don't have to be the butt of everybody's jokes. You don't have to be something that absorbs physical or verbal abuse. You know, you deserve respect. And it does not matter if you don't meet these unrealistic expectations. And I'm talking about, look, man, for you to be a successful father, husband, does not mean you have to have 6 figures sitting in the bank and you're not successful, or you're not a good father because you don't have 6 figures. Believe me, because if you're a black man like myself, and you look how all the other races of men are celebrated, as many of them men that don't have excessive amounts of currency and financial institutions, and they're not considered they're not considered bad fathers just because they don't have that, but yet we are. You don't have to accept that, man. You are a father. You take care of your children. You make sure everyone else in the family is all right before you even put your own needs first. There's a lot of people who won't even consider that. I made this video to tell you that I'm proud of you. Keep striving forward, and whatever you want to be successful in, you can be successful in. Don't have to be a beast of burden, and you definitely sure don't have to be, and I'll say it again because it needs to be drilled home. Do not have to be a beast of burden. You do not have to be a forsaken or more tortured, heavily enduring rage. Absolutely not. We go through enough on a daily basis not to have to fight a war on 2 fronts. I'm proud of you, fathers. Say it again. I'm proud of you all, fathers. Please enjoy this day. You have children, spend some time with them. Enjoy this day with them, or relax. Do whatever you think is best for you. Have a happy Father's Day. You take care, everybody. I will speak to you on the next video. Peace.